Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be talking about a weekend nor'easter that's going to be making its way either offshore of the eastern United States or maybe even onshore. We're going to talk about the different options with this storm, and there's still a bit of a way to go, so we're going to be tracking this one over the next few days. But before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather-related content, and also make sure to share this video with your friends and family if they live in the impacted regions. And also be sure to check out the links in our description and our comment section where I've added the Facebook group Weather Freaks. It's very exciting and a very active group, so I highly recommend you join if you do like weather discussion. Alright, let's get right into things. So this was our GFS run a few days ago, and probably a lot of people have seen this photo floating around. And this was a nor'easter very, very tucked up against the coast, very close to New England there, and bringing heavy snow from Long Island up through Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. Over the last few days, though, it's trended in the wrong direction. We've seen it move offshore, and our low pressure system is located somewhere nearby Bermuda. So, very, very big difference there in the last few days. Now, for snow lovers, the good news is this could just as easily as it's moved away, move back towards the coast, move west, and typically we do see a classic west trend. That's what we typically would call it, a western trend that'll bring that low pressure system closer to the coast over the next few days. This doesn't always happen, but we do typically expect to see this happen, at least on a very minor scale. Alright, now we're about to start talking about where this storm's going to come from, where it's going to head, and then the different options from that point. Alright, so we're looking at our Cyclonic Vorticity, and this is basically just a tool where we can see where a lot of our energy from our storm is stored up. And our system we're watching right now, actually, believe it or not, is that one where you can see a lot of red up there for Washington, Oregon, Nevada. That's our low pressure system. It's going to make its way down towards Texas and the Gulf and then back up the East Coast. So let's move forward one. This is going to be Tuesday evening. So, I mean, this was about a day ago. So this was yesterday. And then let's move towards Thursday morning, about 8 a.m. on January 30th, and this is going to be tomorrow morning from the time I'm making this video, and you can see that energy has moved down to south of Arizona and New Mexico. Then by the time we reach Friday morning, our low pressure system is going to be located in the Gulf near Texas and Louisiana. So probably you're catching the hint that we will have a lot of time to see where this one is going to go. There's still much more time for this to change what it's going to do, and potentially move west where we could actually see impacts, or more impacts at least, along the immediate east coast or even inland as well. And then here's by Saturday morning, and that energy is a little bit messy by this point, but it's offshore of the mid-Atlantic states by this point. Alright, so I hope you guys can get an idea of where this is going to head from the northwestern United States down through into Mexico, and then through the Gulf, and then up the east coast is kind of the general direction we're expecting this one to head in. Now we're about to move on and look at our simulated radar, where we can see the precipitation types on different models, the trends, and all sorts of exciting stuff there, where we can get an idea of what this storm is going to do. Alright, and this is going to be by Friday morning, about 9 a.m., January 31st, and you can see we have a lot of precipitation in the Gulf, and this is going to be by the point where the low pressure system is going to be located somewhere offshore of maybe Texas and Louisiana there. And that's going to be building up over those warm Gulf waters. We see a lot of nor'easters do this, and typically very strong ones do this. This is going to be quite the hefty storm, whether it's offshore and not really impacting us, or if it's impacting us, it is going to be a very, very strong storm. And that's why it has so much potential to be a major nor'easter for the East Coast if it just slides a little bit west. If you guys remember, in previous storms, we've seen, even within the last 24 hours before the storm, we've seen these ones trend from showing snow for the big cities to showing snow for maybe way further inland. So it can do the same thing when it's out off into the ocean. It can come west, and again, I've hinted at that during this video. We do see that happen historically, and in previous years we've seen that happen a lot. Let's move towards Saturday morning, and you can see the precipitation is there for the mid-Atlantic by this point. Our low pressure system is located just offshore of North Carolina. At this point, this does not look like a storm for the mid-Atlantic too much. I am going to talk towards the end of this video about the potential for this to be a little bit for the mid-Atlantic, but for the most part, this doesn't look to have enough cold to support a mid-Atlantic type snowstorm. And then as we head towards Sunday, or this is going to be Saturday night, maybe 8 p.m., you can see it's well offshore of the New England states on the GFS as of this morning 60 run. We're going to be tracking this one, especially in our Facebook group. So again, that would be another reason you could join, is we are going to be tracking the model runs, doing model run threads, which is very exciting if you want to be a part of that. Again, link in the description and the comments. All right, now we're about to start looking at our Canadian model and some other models, see what they're showing as far as this storm is concerned. We're going to take a look at some different options here and just try to break this down for you guys. All right, so here's what our Canadian model is showing, and you can see it's actually a lot closer to the coast. This is going to be Saturday evening, February 1st, so it's going to be a very exciting way to start February. We are going to have a nor'easter. Either way, we're going to have a nor'easter. That's definitely happening. The question is it going to be up against the coast, close enough to the coast to actually bring us precipitation? I'm sure it will bring us wind either way, but will it bring precipitation and possibly even snow? That's probably what a lot of you are wondering. Let's move forward a frame, and here's the interesting thing. This was last night's Canadian model run, and the interesting thing about the Canadian model as opposed to the GFS is the Canadian model only updates twice a day. We have the 0Z run and the 12Z run, whereas on the GFS we have a 6Z, 12Z, 18Z, and a 0Z, which is 4 runs a day, obviously. Now, the Canadian model last night, we can see we have snow from Maryland up through Delaware, New Jersey, in through New York City, Long Island, and southern New England. It's close enough to the coast to bring some snowfall for those regions, and this one actually is the closest to the coast out of all of the models right now. So definitely we still have a big risk for snow along the East Coast. We definitely are seeing a lot of differing opinions, and that's just the type of stuff we're going to have to work out over the next few days. The models have been very inconsistent this year, so we have to get really close to the storm before we make a finalized forecast, obviously. And here's another interesting tool. This is our European ensemble model, and this is the low pressure locations according to each member. So each of the L's you can see on the screen is a low pressure system that a different model member has. In an ensemble model, this one has 30 different members, I believe. So this is 30 different opinions that it has, different algorithms with the model. It's very confusing. All you need to know is there's different models within a model, and a lot of them have those L's very close to the coast. You can see some of them even just offshore of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts, some of them pretty close to New Jersey. If those ones were to verify, we would have a East Coast snowstorm, maybe even a major one. But if the ones within that green circle there, which is the most agreed upon opinion according to all of these, then we would have not much of anything for the East Coast. So that is all still on the table as options for what could happen with this storm. So it's very interesting, obviously. Now we're about to take a look at the total snowfall on that Canadian model so you can see how much snowfall that would bring if last night's run verifies. We're going to talk about the different GFS runs and how much snow they've shown in the past, and then we're going to talk about our NAM model, which has a little bit of a mid-Atlantic southern slider snowstorm, bringing maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow for Virginia, DC, Maryland, Delaware. A lot of different options on the table here. We're going to talk about all of those right now. All right, so here's your Canadian model, and you can see it brings a general, I would say, 1 to 3 inches of snow from Maryland, maybe even the eastern shore of Virginia there, a little bit of some spotty dustings there for Virginia and North Carolina, and definitely the Appalachian Mountains getting a general 1 to 3, maybe even 3 to 6 within some of the higher elevation areas. So those areas are going to be a little bit colder, obviously, might get more snow, but the really interesting thing is from Maryland, Delaware, through New Jersey, New York City, Long Island, and then into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and southeastern Massachusetts. That would be interesting if we got a 1 to 3 inch snowstorm there, and a lot of you haven't even seen that much in a storm so far this year, so that would be very exciting for some of you who've been wishing for snow in Delaware, Maryland, New Jersey, and Long Island. And obviously, the Canadian model isn't the most reliable, but it's an option we have to pay attention to. Now, here was your GFS run from a couple days ago, the one that had it very close to the coast, so this is still possible, but just definitely not likely at this point. But it showed a very coastal storm bringing a general 6 to 12 inches of snow for Boston, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and then New York City getting pretty much 3 inches. We see northwestern New Jersey getting 3 to 6 inches, as well as eastern Pennsylvania. A lot of areas that have not seen a lot of snow would have gotten a lot of snow if this verifies, but this is an old run. I just wanted to show you this because I think this is definitely like a worst case scenario. Worst case scenario is in people who don't want snow type solution. Now, let's look at that NAM model, and we can see our precipitation down there for North Carolina, and this is going to be by Friday evening, January 31st. Let's move forward a little bit, and we start to see that snow as we head towards maybe 11 p.m. on Friday. Let's move forward one more, and this is where the Mid-Atlantic gets a little interesting. This is what I was talking about. We see our low pressure system just offshore of maybe Virginia Beach and those very northeastern regions of North Carolina. And we see snow for Virginia, D.C., Maryland. We see Delaware, the eastern shore of Virginia there. A lot of areas that have not seen a lot of snow getting snow according to this model. And you can see even New York City on this frame by Saturday afternoon. And then even areas like Providence, Boston, and then we see Cape Cod as well by the time we reach Saturday evening. So very, very interesting run by the NAM model this morning. And here's that total snowfall according to that model. We see a general 1 to 3 inches of snow, particularly for southeastern Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and then a little bit of Virginia as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I'm going to continue to track this one with you guys. Be sure to share it with your friends and family if they live in the impacted regions, and I'll see you guys in the next video.